Greenland. They know what they have been doing. They know the altars that they have been erecting for themselves in Greenland, and they know the activities of evil, the kind of evil that even the world is not ready to hear, that they have been doing in the land of Greenland, with obviously the complacency of the presidency or the government of Denmark allowing that land to be used for the greatest gruesome evil that the world has ever seen. So I want you to know that the reason Greenland must be taken away from Denmark is because Denmark was not handling Greenland in a right way. They have been using Greenland for evil, tormenting the people, stealing, doing every kind of evil to the people. Children being stolen from their parents just after they gave birth to them. They steal the child from the mother. They take the child, and the mother never see the child again.
Og derfor handler den undskyldning, som jeg giver i dag, ikke kun om fortiden. Den handler også om vores nutid, og den handler om vores fremtid.
An apology from the Danish Prime Minister for historic injustices committed in Greenland, its former colony. But there's another issue that's affecting Greenlandic people right now. Parenting competency tests, which contributed to hundreds of Greenlandic children being taken from their families.
The way these tests are used is a scandal.
In May, the tests were outlawed for use on Greenlanders. Now, the Danish government says they're going to review hundreds of cases. Some parents are getting their children returned, but others have been told that for them, it's too late.
I never get to see his first steps, first word.
And even for those whose children are returning, the impact can be devastating.
Are you afraid of losing your daughter again?
Every day.
Are more families going to be reunited?
They go to people's houses, they steal their children, they take their children as the government, and they say the parents are not fit to have children. They collect children from one house to the other and left a lot of women, families crying in Greenland. They're stealing the children like it has never been seen before. What are they doing with the children? What are they doing with the children that makes them to feel like the parents of the children are not qualified to raise their own kids? That a woman, after giving birth, just immediately she holds her baby. The baby is taken away from her and she'll never see her child again.
In the capital, Copenhagen, people have come from many different parts of the country. They say their children were unfairly taken from them and are demanding justice.
315 dage, 44 uger, 44 buketter.
Even worse, when the child is already at home, living with their parents, the government officials, they will come inside of the house. They will make a test to the parent and tell the parent that you are not qualified to raise the child. Your IQ is not high enough, and they will steal the child from the parents. And many of the parents, they cried. Many of them, their children, they never saw them. They don't know where their children are, and they don't know what has been done to their children in Greenland. So they continue want to take over Greenland and to own it, yet they persecute and they do evil to the people of Greenland.
Kira's assessments concluded that trauma during her upbringing affects her parenting, preventing her from meeting her children's needs. She says that on multiple occasions, she was pressured by psychologists and social workers to have abortions.
When I was on the test, FQO test, psychologist asked me a question. Why do you keep this baby? In my test, it said, I'm not responsible enough. I didn't take my responsibility for getting abortion. I fight for Sammy. I didn't want to get abortion.
The criminality of the government system is on another level. Because governments can use the law to commit criminal activities. They can use established institutions, the institutions that are so-called for the help of the society. When the governments are controlled by these kinds of people, those institutions are convicted from being a help to society to become instruments of lawlessness and of great level of criminality. Because when you look at these and you hear them talking about how they were making these competency tests, you realize that they were using psychologists and they were using social workers as part of these evaluations. And as they were doing so, some of the questions that they will be asking the parents of the children, it will be simply, who is Mother Teresa? If the parent does not know who Mother Teresa is, then you don't qualify to raise up your children. So you don't qualify to raise up your children just because you don't know who Mother Teresa is. But one thing that the people of Greenland did not understand is that behind this so-called evaluation is the greatest human trafficking syndicate that is working with the government of Denmark and using the institutions of the government to facilitate human trafficking.
What were these parenting competency tests like? What kind of questions did they ask you?
They asked a question like, who is Mother Teresa? Some of the tests I had to play with a doll. And they were criticizing me for not having eyes contact.
These kinds of questions are part of a far-reaching assessment designed to evaluate intellectual and personal capability to meet a child's needs. They can cover general knowledge, logic, memory, and emotional understanding. Parents would normally be required to take these tests after extensive contact with social services.
So human trafficking is being done by government institutions using the institutions that are supposed to be social welfare institutions to propagate such kind of an evil thing. Because some of these women, they were just giving birth. While they were in the hospital, they get this so-called competency test. After they give them the competency test, and then they come back, and then they tell them that immediately they give birth, they tell them that you have failed the competency test, therefore you are not qualified to be a parent, therefore the government is taking your child. They never tell them where the children are being taken to. They never give them access to see their children. They don't know. They lose contact from that time with their children.
A new specialist unit has been set up and is expected to review around 300 cases where Greenlandic children were removed from their parents' care.
Sami me amningama. Jote me kangiamada. Merangwatingunaka.
Zami is the third of Kira's children to be taken against her will. She says initial contact with social workers started with a knock on the door out of the blue. Documents from the council cite concerns that her eldest daughter was struggling with language development. This led to assessments and tests on Kira.
So many of these women are broken. Many of them are living in sorrow and pain because some of the children were 5 years old, some of the children were 6 years, 7 years old. They were already acquainted with their parents and they were taken away. They were taken away from them. Using the law. So the government have always been corrupt when they are being controlled by this Luciferian cult. When this satanic cult is in charge of government, it uses government institutions to feed itself, to commit atrocities against the people of the world, to do evil.
When you intervene into a family and remove a child, this is always based on some ideas about cultural norms.
For years, campaigners have raised concerns about the way children are taken from Greenlandic parents. Tina co-founded Sila 360, an NGO challenging the system.
The way these tests are used is a scandal. And it's shocking and it's dehumanizing. The Danish authorities think that the Greenlandic people are uncivilized, they are less smart, and actually that they are just less privileged.
Family, you will not tell me that over 300 children can go missing in one day and take away from the parents, and yet you don't know where the children are. The last statistics in the United States, it was 300,000 children that were missing in 1 year. 300,000. Don't tell me 300,000 children can go missing and nobody knows where they are. It's impossible. It's impossible. So we need to know what is happening in these islands. What are they doing in these islands? Where are they taking these children? What are they doing to the children? What are they doing to them that makes them to take the children from their parents and say they are going to raise them? Where have you ever seen a government raising children? So the government of Denmark will have its own day to answer. It will have its own day to answer for what has happened to the people of Greenland and what has been happening in Greenland. It will have its own day to answer for that.
While Kira waits, hoping for answers, not every case is under review. Some have been permanently closed. Back in 2010, Johanne was assessed in a parenting competency test. She did not have an interpreter, even though Danish is her second language. The assessment found her to have mental retardation. But the local council told us she did not need an interpreter and that her children faced physical and psychological neglect because of Johanne's alleged mental health issues, including periods of depression and anxiety. Her 2 children were taken from her. Then, 9 years later, Johanne became pregnant again.
We have another picture when he was 1 day old.
Wow. Is that you?
Yeah.
Yep, that is me
That is the father
and son.
and son. Nartulerama nuannarpu. Pilluamisartoruissuugut ukiоqqortusererluta ilimagingikkaluaqatsiunartulissalluta.
That happiness was short-lived. 8 months into her pregnancy, Johanne learned that she and her husband would face the parenting competency tests once again. The assessment described Johanne as childish and narcissistic. Ulrich, it said, was self-centered and lacking empathy. The conclusion, they could not meet the needs of their child. They felt the outcome was predetermined.
Nerrivik saasmaanlarit kasuttortarpaa Johanna eqqaamajuk meeravisiangortinissa siunertararput.
So when Trump is saying we need to take over Greenland for the security of the people of the world, he knows what he's saying. He knows what he's saying because of what has been happening in Greenland. So I want you to know, family, the Bible says, for we are not ignorant of the devil's devices, for lest he take an advantage of us. Because when we don't know what Satan is doing, we follow blindly, and he takes an advantage. But because we have no fellowship with the works of darkness, and therefore we expose them. We expose them because we have no fellowship with them. So I want you to know that this is what they are doing in Greenland. So when you hear them saying Trump, he's trying to take over Greenland, he's stealing the land. No. You must know the truth.
With Jesus Reigns TV, we can make a new world by taking the gospel of Jesus Christ to the ends of the earth. In a world where men are busy chasing after the affairs of this world, technology and all other inventions have taken over man. Yet Jesus remains the only hope and solution for the salvation of mankind. Taking the gospel to the ends of the earth is urgent. This is the only message that will change the world. Join Jesus Reigns today, and together let's make this message of Christ's kingdom known throughout the world. God's servant Yamkela Joseph has been commissioned by the Lord Jesus Christ to preach the gospel to the ends of the earth. So many prophecies spoken over nations and people come to pass every day. He is indeed a servant in the hands of his master. Holding hands together, we can make this world a better place by spreading the gospel into every street. It is Christ's mission to win men unto himself, and therefore it is a mission we cannot fail. Become a partner today and help the message to spread across the world.